Hello and welcome to this edition of the Farrell Phelps Show. My guest today is Darian McCrary and Brianna Babineau. Welcome to the show. You know, I thought it was important to have some kids on the panel today because guess what? The children are our future, and it's important what we instill in them. And I think it's very important that we keep our hand on the pulse of teenagers and young kids so that we can know better what's going on in their heads and in the world. Now, we were talking about peer pressure prior to the camera rolling. Brianna, now we talked about peer pressure earlier. Peer pressure as it relates to you, can you help me with that?
Well, peer pressure is like you're surrounded by your peers and they pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. Well, I don't like being pressured into anything, for one.
Right.
So, if you're going to pressure me to anything, we might as well not be friends. So.
And you know what? I like that. I like that. And you know, and when you talk about friends, that's very important because a lot of times we're influenced by the people that we are surrounded by. So as teenagers, it's very important that you select your friends the right way and select friends that are going to make a positive impact on your life and not a negative impact on your life. Mr. Darian, what do you feel about peer pressure, my brother?
Peer pressure to me was, well, I have experience with it. It was in 5th grade, and there was this guy. He was not, like, he was referred to as the cool person. And, you know, I tried to hang around him, and, you know, they didn't exactly like me just because I was smart. I was smarter than them. And so I guess they felt me as a threat to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I tried to hang around them and everything, but they really just, they had this one kid in the group, and so, and they were being very rude to him, and they influenced him in a bad way.
Okay.
He used to be a really nice guy now. He's okay. But what happened was they started to, you know, make fun of him, like they would spill water on him at lunchtime. And so at one point, I decided to tell the teacher, well, apparently at that moment, they didn't think it was the cool thing to do. And so pretty much what happened is they got mad at me for a very long time, and then I realized that it really doesn't matter what they think because I'm probably, if I keep them staying on the right track, I'm going to do better than them, and one day they're going to be begging me.
And you know what? That's what I'm talking about. And when you're in the midst of kids that are doing wrong, sometimes you have to be that kid that do the right thing. So I hope you guys are gaining a great lesson from what Darian is saying, because so often we want to go with the flow of what's going on so that we can appear cool. But you know who's cool to me? It's the person who stands away from that stuff. The person who's bold enough to be on their own 2 feet and not to be influenced by the negative, bad things that kids are doing. So I commend you for that, man. I think that is fantastic. Needless to say, you are being parented correctly. And we need to see more of that in our society and with kids. Now, I myself was bullied in school. I was really severely bullied in school. And it's ironic that a lot of people that bullied me during that time are dead or in jail. And I remember one day walking to class, and there was this bully who would push on me every day and call me names and all this stuff. And I was much smaller, and I was really scared. And I remember telling the teachers, you know, this guy keeps picking on me. And, you know, they would try to help me as best they could. And on this particular day, I was walking up the hall, and I would get teased for the way that I talked, or because I tried to practice speaking the correct way. And so I was called a white boy, I was called all these things, and pushed. And on this particular day, I'd had a bad day. I was already bullied, and I'd had a bad day. And this bully that gets me every day decided he wanted to get me on this particular day, but my level of anger that day, it wasn't the right thing to do, but my level of anger that day kind of overtook the fear that I had. And I shoved him as hard as I possibly could into the lockers. Was it the right thing to do? No, it wasn't. But it got him up off of me, and he never messed with me again. You know, but we have to teach our kids not to go to school and bully one another, because you're not helping anybody. If anything, you're hurting people. And then not only that, but a lot of kids that are being bullied are killing themselves these days. This type of action is causing kids to commit suicide because they're being bullied. It has to stop, man. We got to stop the madness. I want to ask you, Brianna, how did you feel about it? Now, have you ever been bullied yourself?
No, not really.
Not really, but if you were, how do you think you might handle that?
I would stand up for myself. I wouldn't just sit there and let myself get bullied.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to bully me, I'm going to fight back.
Right, right. Now, how important is it to, and I'm asking both you guys this question, to go to the teacher or to a superior to let them know about what's going on? Or would you be afraid to do that? Or would you quickly go to a teacher or someone to help you in a situation like that?
I would quickly go to the teacher. You're supposed to go to a grown-up when you need help on something. So why would I just sit there and let the bully keep bullying me for no apparent reason?
Right, right. And for yourself, Darian?
Well, now we're at the time where it seems, sorry, where it seems that, sorry,
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
that telling the teacher is a bad thing. It's considered a snitch,
Okay.
as you may call it. And I feel the problem with that is it's human nature that if you tell a teacher and it's not happening to that person, that specific person, then the teacher's probably not going to care as much as you do. And then I don't like it when the teacher goes and says this, oh, you should not fight back. But here's the thing, it's right now it's like if you do not fight back, what's going to happen is it will keep on coming. So when you tell the teacher, more people are going to bully you because they think that they have the option to, because they think that you're weak. So it's like they brought up
catch-22, huh? It's like can't win, can't lose almost.
yeah. So they brought up grass and everything to tell people not to fight back. But I think this, if somebody's going to be bothering me and they won't stop after I tell them to, then I'm not going to be as nice as I was about it a while ago. I'm going to say a few words that might not be tolerated in the school, and I'm going to do something that will stop me from being bullied. I've never been bullied before, but I've seen it happen, and you'd be surprised of how much people would not do anything about it, and they would just sit there. And so at one point, this kid tried to bully me in the lunch line, because I was in the classroom with quite a bit of girls, and it wasn't like it was my choice to be stationed in one classroom. So I had girls' hair in my head, and he thought it was funny to joke around about it. So he grabbed my arms, tried to break it, he said. So I pushed him away. It was like a kind of a vending machine for the teachers. And so I pushed him away. He hit his head on there, and everybody laughed at him. Now, I felt bad about it, but then I thought he was not going to do it again, because after that, everybody thought that he was not exactly anything a threat. So
Okay. And that's unfortunate that it even got to that point. And one of the things I say, you should never put your hands on anybody. There should be a rule. Don't touch. Don't touch me. That should definitely be a rule. I wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit. We talked about bullying for a second. I want to ask you, how has technology influenced you guys? Do you think it's distracting when you're in the classroom? And I'm going to ask you, Brianna. We'll start there.
Well, it's not distracting to me, but with certain kids, it's distracting because they can't actually concentrate on what the teacher's saying when they have like a computer or anything in front of them that involves internet. So they're doing something else while the teacher is in front of the class trying to teach you something. But when the day of the test arrives, you don't know what to do, and you end up failing.
Because you were playing with your technology when you should have been paying attention to what was being taught in the classroom.
Exactly.
Okay. And how do you feel about that,
for
Darian?
me, when the teacher and we were dealing with laptops, there was a teacher who had a monitor with everything that a child was doing on the monitor. So whatever they were researching, the teacher knew what they were doing.
Oh, wow.
So it never became anything bad. I mean, of course, you're going to have those few students that try to see if the teacher is not working. But those students normally will fail the test just because
Okay.
they aren't exactly paying attention. Now, I'm not saying just because she had that monitor that she was monitoring what the kids were doing. They could still be pressing buttons and everything, checking everything out on the laptop. And so it really just didn't seem like they cared about what was going to happen to them because they felt...
The student, that is?
Yes.
Okay.
They felt, oh, well, I want to be a basketball player, so all I have to do is focus on basketball. But what they didn't realize is if you want to be in basketball, then you have to make good grades because they didn't realize in college you have to get good grades or else they're going to kick you off that team.
Exactly, and that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I think that's what's missing a lot too. Education. Education is the key to the greater success for your life. So if you want to be an athlete, I think it's important that we walk away with a lesson, knowing that we have to educate ourselves. We have to make good grades in order to play the sports that we want to play as well. You know, I think that's everything. And you see a lot of teachers passing kids, and that they're passing them, but when they get to the college level, they're not able to deal with it because they weren't taught what they were supposed to be taught when they were in school. They just passed them along because they were athletes. And I think it's important what you just said, that they get the education first, because that type of thing can take place in their lives. We're going to be back in just a moment. We'll have a little bit more discussion. You guys stick around, and we'll be back. All right.
Sky Trues Custom Eyewear has taken the world by storm. In only 8 months, Sky Trues has gained the eyes of many, including celebs like Big Sean, Little Flip, Destiny's Child, Soulja Boy, just to name a few. Through custom design, Sky Trues can put your imagination on your frames. I bring to you the next big thing in Houston, Sky Trues, created by Golden Boy, the musician, the artist, the entrepreneur, and grassroots marketing genius. Be inspired. Sky Trues, custom designed frames. Sky Trues.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of the Farrell Phelps Show. My guest today is Darian McCrary and Brianna Babineau. Welcome back. We're talking about the things that are happening with our kids and the different influences that take place while they're away from home and at school. Peer pressure being one of those things. I want to ask you guys, what's something that you think we can do as adults that'll make a difference with you guys when you're in the school environment?
Set an example, because our generation now is horrible. Because their French isn't exactly how it's supposed to be.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. When you say they're French, are they using profane words?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay. And where do you think they find out that type of information or words?
From their household, like what goes around them, or they hear that somewhere else and they decide it's good, so they want to act like they popular and they think they can say that type of language.
Right. Now let me ask you this. Do you feel like that language is a derivative of the rap music and things that they're listening to?
Yes, I kind of do, because twerking is not actually what a young lady is supposed to do.
All right. Hey. I like that. She said that twerking is not something that a young lady is supposed to do. And I totally agree. And I've seen so many little videos that you see pop up everywhere with these little girls and young girls doing this twerking thing. And it ain't cute. It ain't nothing cute about it, you know. And it's so refreshing to sit here with Brianna and to hear her say that twerking is not something that a young lady should do. And I can't applaud you enough. And when we talk about role models, this is what I'm talking about. Examples like this young lady right here, that's what I call a role model. You know, you're not trying to do something to fit in because all the other little girls are twerking. You look at it and you say, that's not what I'm supposed to do. And so I tip my hat to you, and I certainly commend you. Now, I want to ask you the same thing that I asked Brianna there about the influences that we have, and is a lot of that pertaining to rap music and the things that you guys look at or listen to, you think? How do you think the rap industry has influenced the young kids?
Well, for me, I cannot exactly speak on that because I don't exactly listen to rap that much.
Okay.
So, but I can say, I think some of the teachers could be some reasons, because even though when you have those conferences with your teacher, with this child's teacher, they like put on a poker face. So they act like this is how they always are, but when they're like in the class with the children, they'll be cussing the students out, because I've seen that before. I've been walking by the classes and you just hear cuss words every 5 seconds.
Not by the teacher.
By the teacher.
The teacher cussing. Are you serious?
And that's apparently in that school that's normal.
Really?
At my old school that was normal.
Wow.
And that school is very good. The teachers, some of the teachers are very well trained. They just, I guess that once they are a teacher a while, they get tired of children.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And
And I felt like once they got in 7th and 8th grade, that's when it started to happen more, because they felt, they needed to keep the children under control, just because, their ages and the grades. So
okay.
they say, oh, well, we're doing this so we can keep them on track. But I don't think it's helping them on track, because what you hear after that classroom is the same words coming out of the students.
Wow. Wow.
Talking about the teacher.
Oh boy. You know what? Hey, and you know what? You're right. And so what that's saying is that the students are certainly influenced by their superior, being the teacher. So the same language that the teacher is actually using in the classroom toward those students leave that classroom, and when they describe that teacher, that's what they say about that teacher. I find that very interesting. And it is funny as I don't know what. But it also speaks to the fact that there is power and influence, and adults have a lot of power over kids, and when it comes to kids. So I want to say to the adults, use the power that you have to influence kids in a most positive direction, because that's what's going to make a difference. And when I have this conversation with you guys, I can't help but to think of the song by Whitney Houston, I Believe the Children Are Our Future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty that they possess inside. I think it's very important that we show these children the beauty that they possess inside, so that they can know who they are when they go out into the world. And so often when you don't know who you are, you operate in a negative fashion in your life. We have to teach the kids the value that they have. Right. And you guys, I'm telling you both have a lot of value. And always remind yourself of that. Never let anyone tell you you're ugly, that you're not beautiful, that you're not pretty, that you're not handsome, that you're not smart, that you're not sharp or intelligent, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be sitting here right now. And I have to say that the dialogue with the kids is really, just like, I'm excited about this dialogue, man, because it was unexpected, number one. Number two, it's refreshing to see the intelligence that exists with our kids. Our kids. These are our kids. And to see the intelligence that exists with our kids. Because, and you know what, so often, these are the kids that we miss. Because the focus is always on the bad kid, or the one that's doing something negative. That's what we see in the media, and that's what we see on television. But guess what? I got news for you. We got Brianna right here. We got Darian right here. So this is an example of what I want more kids to be like. And not only that, but I think their grades are pretty good also. Brianna, let me know a little bit about your grades right now.
I'm in all pre classes. I love math and science. They are my main best classes. I'm like in an honor roll of all A's. I mess up sometimes. I stumble. Like, only if I do mess up, I only get like 2 B's, and I never get a B again because I strive for myself to make better grades because I want to do something with my life.
She just said, I strive for my grades because I want to do something better with my life. That is encouraging. That is awesome. That is wonderful. And man, we need more teenagers like you. I know you're 12. She's about to be 13. I consider them both teenagers right about now because they're pretty much going to be teenagers. But how do you feel about that, man? And how are your grades? 'Cause I know your grades are good too.
Well, at the end of the year, I had all A's and B's, so I was pretty happy about that. But I was in math. Now I'm not going to name the name of the teacher because I feel that's uncalled for. But what I had started getting a lot of C's, and so he kind of helped. He or she, I don't really know. But what happened with me is I said pretty much I'm struggling with my grades, and he wasn't helping me at the moment.
Okay.
So I slowly, he slowly started working with me, and we slowly brought it up. But I had to, it took more teachers. I had to go to an 8th grade teacher to be tutored.
To get the help that you needed.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that's important that kids know that there is a source that they can go to get the help that they need, and not to be afraid to ask for help when you need it. If you're striving for something greater, you got to do something that you might not have been doing in the beginning. You got to stretch a little bit, and stretching is perfectly okay. Are there any final thoughts that you guys want to share with me?
I wanna add, if there's people out there that worry about the past and the future, don't worry about that. You're supposed to worry about present day, what you want to succeed that day, and then go on to the next day. You shouldn't tell yourself, I should have did this yesterday. You shouldn't tell yourself, I should do this tomorrow. You're supposed to worry about that day. Succeed whatever you want that day, not any other day.
Wow, well said. Well said. Well said. And I think that's so important. And our past does not necessarily dictate our future, but it's simply a platform for us to stand on to reach to something higher. And I think both of these wonderful kids have something to reach for at a higher level. And I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how bright their futures are going to be. In fact, we'll probably all need sunglasses just to watch y'all as y'all begin to glow in your your goals in the future. Now, I want to ask you also, what is it that you feel like you want to say to the audience out there, man?
Now, I'm not going to say this, and I'm not going to try to crush anybody's dreams, but what I want people to realize is that being famous, being an actor, singer, basketball player, football player, anything that is seen amazing in your eyes, you probably have a 20% chance of that happening to you, maybe even less than that. And I don't want you to focus your whole life on trying to become those, because I feel the media has stressed us too much to say to be popular is the best thing in the world, and you want to always have as much money. But honestly, what I think is, if you're happy with yourself, then don't try to change whatever you think that the best thing that is going to be for you, because there's some people that want to be a singer but are terrible at singing, and they will say that they want to be a singer because they watch Beyonce music videos and Jay-Z.
They're influenced by that, huh?
Yes, and so they feel, oh, I want to be able to do that. But thing is, Beyonce is not, just a singer. She's intelligent, and she's also a businesswoman. She is not just what you see on music videos for about 2 minutes. It's not what you think it is. It is 10 times harder than any other job to be an actor or musician, because they have to deal with things that not any person in the world should deal with, but they still do it, and they do it very well, even though they have the biggest hate in the world, because this thing about the Illuminati that probably doesn't exist. But of course, what brought it up was the media, so they can have a story for the next day.
If you have talent, you just have it.
Yeah, and
So,
exactly. If
you think that you want to be famous or anything, I just want to make sure that you have a backup plan. Don't think of anything else. I don't care if you're a car salesperson. Just think of something that you can make a living off of that is a normal job. Just don't go big, because even though they say don't go big or go home, eventually the people that are saying that they want to do it are going to go home. Because
Don't
people
bite off more than you can chew.
because
And
people that say that that you have to do this and that, don't listen to them, because it's your life decisions, and that's all I have to say about that.
there it is. Wow. What interesting dialogue. What interesting dialogue. I just heard one of the audience members say, out of the mouth of babes. And so often, out of the mouth of babes, you just hear things sometimes, man. You're like, wow. And believe it or not, you guys can actually influence us. You can have an impact on our lives just by being here, just by speaking as sharp and intelligently as you guys have both spoken today. And I commend both of you. I think you've done an incredible job of being my host today, my co-host, my guest. You guys were phenomenal. And I want to leave you with this. Why be ordinary when you have the power to be extraordinary? You have a choice. I think it's easy for anybody to be ordinary, but it takes an extraordinary person to step out of the bound and step out of the box to be what they want to be in their lifetime. You guys have the power to influence, motivate, and inspire people because you're together, you're sharp, you're intelligent, you're speaking well, you're sitting here, you're articulating with me, you're talking with an adult, and we're having good adult conversation with kids on a very intelligent level. Thank y'all so much. Man. So this is the type of influence that I want the world to see. I want this interview to go out for the world to see what our kids are capable of and what our kids are doing. The intelligence and the sharpness that exists within them, the mind. The mind is everything. You guys keep going, man. I can't wait to see what the end's going to be. I've enjoyed this segment so much. It has been such a pleasure having both you guys on the show. Now, for the TV audience, for more information on the Farrell Phelps Show, you can certainly reach me at Let's Talk About It 12TV at gmail.com. That's Let's Talk About It 12TV at gmail.com. You can also find our information on our YouTube channel. You simply go to YouTube, type in the name Farrell Phelps, and you will see all of our shows listed right there. Until next time, folks, we'll see you then.